Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2020 Ontario Time Attack e-racing series, Overtake the Apex, for event number 2. Overtake the Apex is presented to you by Ontario Time Attack. As Ontario's premier grassroots time attack series, we love driving anything from straight out of the showroom cars all the way to purpose-built track machines. Come out and race against the clock with us. Find out more at time-attack.ca, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Ontario Time Attack to keep up with our announcements. If you enjoy watching these videos, please help us out by giving us a like and smashing that subscribe button on the bottom right corner of the screen. Don't forget to hit the bell button to be alerted of new content on this channel as well. Many thanks to our partner and server host for tonight's event, Pinnacle Advanced Driving Academy. Operating out of Toronto Motorsports Park, they are a private track school that caters to both newbies who have never been to the racetrack, all the way to folks who participate in Time Attack and want more critical feedback to cut down those lap times. Check them out on Instagram at Pinnacle Driving Academy and their website, www.pinnacledriving.com, for more details. Don't forget to sign up using promo code SPRING25 before the end of April to receive $25 off. That's $25 off if you use promo code SPRING25. Ontario Time Attack is proudly sponsored by Automoves, dependable vehicle shipping; Toyo Tires, driven to perform; NV Auto, build, tune, race, repeat; GRP, Johnston Research and Performance; Mobile One. With 20 years of supporting OTA, we couldn't have made it where we are today without you, Mobile One. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And now for a quick public service announcement.
COVID-19 is a serious public health threat. All Canadians must act now to reduce the spread. Avoid crowded places and practice social distancing. Avoid non-essential travel and stay home as much as possible. Self-isolate if you may have been exposed to COVID-19. Stay connected with neighbors, friends, and family. When you take care of yourself, you take care of others.
A message from the Government of Canada.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Kevin Wong, the Chief Timer of Ontario Time Attack. Our second race of the season is located in Canada, just east of Toronto in the town of Bowmanville at the legendary Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Opened in 1961 at a length of just under 2.5 miles, or just under 4 kilometers, the Grand Prix track is arguably North America's fastest road course and home to the Mobile One Sports Car Grand Prix event. Everyone always talks about its potent mix of 2 steep downhill turns, or its long 3/4 mile wavy uphill back straight, or the last deceptive right-hander into the narrow front straight. Tonight, we'd like to pay tribute to the legend who gave us 2 corners where there was only to be one, Sir Stirling Moss. Born in London, England, on September 17, 1929, to parents Alfred and Eileen, Stirling was no stranger to motorsport. Both parents understood the desire to race, with Alfred as an amateur driver at the 1924 Indianapolis 500, finishing 16th, and Eileen at the wheel of a Singer 9 in pre-war hill climbs. Stirling raced from 1948 to 1962, racking up 212 wins out of 529 races entered, including 16 Formula One Grand Prix. While he never won the driver's title, Stirling never let that frustration get ahead of his British sense of chivalry. He is well known amongst his peers for being honest and deeply caring for his fellow drivers. When Stirling first saw the designs for the Grand Prix track in Bowmanville, he was generally enthusiastic about the layout but made one key recommendation. The original single-radius carousel hairpin at the south end ought to be changed to a 90-degree right, followed by another right leading onto the back straight. He was convinced this would be a more challenging test of driver skill and give the fans a better show. With this, turns 5A and 5B were baptized as Moss Corner when he won the first professional race held here in 1961. While it may give initial pause for the history books to claim him as one of the all-time greats due to the lack of a driver's championship, he would be the driver that people would say, in his own words, "Gosh, he should have won." You will be missed, Sir Moss. Ontario Time Attack is the only Time Attack series to have a timed event on this historic track. What better way to introduce and walk us through this track than current OTA track record holder, Northern Speed driver James Houghton. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the show, James.
Thanks very much for having me. Great to go back and kind of relive that memory from that awesome event last year.
Yeah, your current record, which was established in 2019 in your K-tuned Integra, you clocked in a minute and 18.74 seconds. That's pretty crazy. And I
Yeah,
think I think from what I understood, you had mechanical issues that was holding you back, right?
yeah, we were dealing with some new traction control settings that we were kind of battling through, and then we had excessive heat that was doing a bit of damage to the underbody that day. So we definitely had our issues for a one-day only event. It's always, when you go to a one-day event, you always hope to have it as smooth of a day as possible.
Right. Well, hopefully you can come back as when we resume our operations and then beat that time. That'd be great to see you come back.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So why don't we just walk through our audience on a turn-by-turn playthrough of a hot lap at that CTMP, starting from the front straight. So we're heading into turn one. Uh, Most people tell me there's a drop in the pavement before the turn starts. How do you handle this turn?
So in the Integra, and I find that, even in a lot of cars, generally, as most cars get faster, usually people kind of develop their aero package and their tires and everything like that. So I find sometimes braking zones aren't even really changing that much unless it's a really high horsepower, really low aero, low grip car. But, for me, a lot of cars, you're coming into one, you're going to be, a light brush of the brakes to a moderate, kind of jab at the brakes, but it's not a big braking zone for one. And, you're really just trying to get back on the throttle as quick as you can, because turn one is definitely a corner where I think a lot of people leave a lot of time, and there's a lot of speed to be had through turn one.
Right. The one thing that people also tell me to plan to get that speed out of that corner, you got to look ahead. But in many cases, for most, especially the rookies, when you're looking ahead, you're looking at the concrete wall between pit lane and essentially the main track, and then you have to track out all the way to really gain all that speed you're talking about, right?
Yeah, for sure. No, it's the more I drive, the more I realize, where you're looking is so important. Not just for, hitting your mark, but even for, hitting your apex and your exits and everything like that. But it's if you're always looking ahead, you're going to tend to get back to the gas a lot sooner. If you're keeping your eyes down and looking kind of at the apex of the corner, when you're at the apex of the corner, there's a good chance that you won't be, back to throttle already. So the further out you can keep your eyes, the more you're realizing, oh, the exit of the corner is right there. I'm going to pick up the throttle and really try to find that exit speed.
That's awesome advice. Thanks. So now we're coming out of turn one, going into turn two, Clayton Corner. It's just pretty much you're looking at a crest with maybe the sign and the Marshall station right there. What reference points are you looking at, and how do you tackle this turn?
I sometimes people try to approach the corner from a little bit further track right. In the Integra, and especially in the few laps that I've had at that track, with the pace that car has, I like to kind of keep it a little bit safer approach. So I end up kind of coming at that corner and going under the bridge, kind of basically in the center of the track, and I stay fairly close to the inside all the way down. I don't let the car track out very wide between the first and the second apex. Some people track kind of way out in higher grip, lower power cars, but I just found for myself it felt safer just to keep it pretty tidy. And the other thing I found is it seems like there's a little bit of banking, really tight. I believe it's at the second apex, if I remember correctly. There's a little bit of banking down there, and it's really hard to see unless you walk the track. So if you miss that, it can be, I shouldn't say if you miss that. If you hit that and you're able to stay into that little tiny bit of banking there, it can be very rewarding. But a lot of people I don't think know about it because a lot of people don't end up getting to walk that track.
Right, but that second apex you're talking about too has that little strip of the extra paving that they put in too. That gives you extra grip too, right?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
And for our audience, this corner, turn two Clayton Corner, is the steepest drop. You actually drop about 70 feet or 21 meters vertically over a distance of 1,003 feet or 306 meters horizontally. So how does your car actually handle that kind of a massive drop like that? Is it all the aero, or is it a combination of both your suspension and the aero as well?
I mean, the aero makes that corner night and day difference versus other cars that I've driven there. A few years ago, I was there in an F2000 that had no aero at all and street tires, and that car on the limit was a big fight through that corner. But going through there in the Integra, I think we would have just gone faster and faster and faster with more laps throughout the weekend, because it's you're kind of daring yourself to drive a little bit harder and a little bit harder. And honestly, I think that we probably left a whole bunch of time on the table, because prior to that event last year, I had never turned a lap at a GP track faster than a 126. So to go from a 126 to a 118 in one day was a huge learning experience, to try to do that in only 3 sessions.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, and you even then, I don't think you lapped. I don't think you hit all your sessions that day too. You had, like you said, you had mechanical issues, so that cut down your lap times. You cut down your lap sessions even more, right?
Exactly.
Right.
So,
wow, that's a lot of detail on turn 2. That's amazing. Well, so now exiting out of turn 2, you're carrying a lot of speed going to turn 3 Quebec corner. For me, this corner seems to always mess me up, because it seems like the radius, like it's not your. It looks like that's just a standard right turn, but the radius always throws me off. What do you do to tackle this?
I mean, there's a little bit of curving in the middle of turn 3 that you can kind of use as a reference for looking for your apex there, because I think that a lot of people tend to turn in too early for turn 3, and if you turn in too early, you're going to really pinch yourself off at the exit. So if you can try to wait and hit your apex at that where that curbing kind of sticks out and comes to a point, there's definitely a lot more speed exiting the corner there.
Right, and the track really opens up on the exit. That's how I know I've always screwed up when I've come out of it and going, oh, there's tons of room here. But
yeah, or if you hit the apex too early, kind of before that, you can, especially in a higher horsepower car, you can tend to end up running out of room.
Right. So now coming out of turn 3, you're flat out going to turn 4, which is another big drop, and except this time there's, unlike turn 2, which has some runoff, turn 4 is you're looking straight into a forest. How do you handle this one?
Prix.
Did you just take the wheel?
It's a wild ride over that hill, and like you say, you're kind of looking into the forest. There's no runoff at the bottom there, and you're trying to gauge your braking point as well, because previous when we had been there, I had run a car with anywhere near the horsepower that we were running, so I was having to kind of push my braking point back and back and back to get comfortable and get to that point where you could get the car still tidy and turned in for turn 5. So that was kind of limiting us a little bit on how fast we could go kind of through the exit of 4 there, because we were starting to bring our braking point quite a ways back up the hill.
Oh wow! Like again, for our viewers, turn 4 is the second steepest drop on the track. You're dropping about 53 feet or 16 meters vertically over a distance of 787 feet or 240 meters horizontally. So now you're coming down super hot because it's all downhill, going to 5A Moss Corner. How do you typically handle the 5A, 5B entry? Because I've been told some people try to go track left and kind of avoid the curbing, and some people go no straight line from 4 apex to 5A apex. How do you do this?
At the speed that we were turning, going through turn 4, the car ends up basically forced to the exit of 4. So we end up not getting that far back over again for turn 5. Because you would be, you'd have to be like aggressively getting the car turned to get back over to the other side of the track again. So I end up kind of approaching the corner from the middle of the. Hang on one second, sorry. Okay, I'm just gonna finish this up out here and then I'll come inside. Sorry. I'll just start from this. So coming down through turn 4, the car is actually forced to the exit of the corner, to track right of the corner, kind of if you want, even if you don't want it to be, just because of the amount of speed the car is carrying down there. So to get the car to track left again to approach turn 5 would be kind of an unsettling move for the for the car and for the stability of it. So we end up kind of approaching 5, probably mid-track. In a perfect world, you probably want to be more track left, but just the way the car was working and, the way I guess I was dealing with everything that way, we ended up maybe not getting as far back over to the left as possible. But, it's such a funny track. There's so many tracks that I've driven over the years that are so black and white with the lines you need to take. And over the years, I've experienced and learned there's so many different ways you can drive that track, and there's not always a right or wrong way. Sometimes the fastest way is just whatever way you can be the most comfortable and carry the most speed.
Right. Okay. Now going into 5C, which is the sharp 90-degree hard right turn. How do you tackle that one? Do you just simply just take it the textbook approach, and is there only really one way, or like you said, multiple ways to do this?
I think again, this it depends again, your car and how you can get back into the throttle. With the Integra, we're looking, especially leaving low speed corners. The straighter we can get the car, the better we can apply power. But and that's in any car, but it's a huge difference in a front wheel drive car with being able to get the front wheels straighter. So I'm going really wide, approaching 5C, as far track left as I can get, and I'm trying to get the car pitched and rotated really fast, because I kind of want to be basically straight already by the apex. I don't want to be have much steering angle in it anymore by then, because we want to be able to put as much power as we can to go up the back straight, because you're going to see speeds of like 250 to 260 kilometers an hour up the back straight. So with that, you definitely want to maximize that exit as much as possible.
Right, and like you said, like going up the back straight, which is the Mario Andretti straightaway, and even then the track's not perfectly flat going uphill. You're looking at various bumps along the way, right?
Exactly. So I know in some rear wheel drive cars, some of those bumps can even upset the cars a little bit. Luckily, with our chassis, kind of once we get over 120 or 140 kilometers an hour, traction isn't that much of an issue anymore. And being a front wheel drive car, even if it did unload the tires a little bit, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But definitely to keep your momentum and keep your comfort level as high as possible, you still want to make sure you choose the correct line going up the back straight to straighten it out as much as possible, because
right.
It can be kind of blind, and you don't want to be kind of caught out not knowing where you are back there.
Right. Now you're coming up with all that speed, like you said, up to 260 kilometers an hour going in. Now for turn 8, how do you handle that one? Because every time I've driven turn 8, it always scares me, because it looks like a fairly simple right-hander, high speed, but it just feels so unsettling to go through that at such a high speed.
I think that corner is funny because it feels like you can't go through there as fast as you can. But that corner has a tremendous amount of grip. And again, especially since the repave, I was just daring myself to drive in there harder and harder. I think some people with the braking point, they need to kind of make a decision if they're going to brake on the uphill approaching the bridge, or wait until kind of after the bump, because if you're braking over the bump, it can kind of upset the ABS and stuff like that in the car that has it. So you definitely want to either do your braking up the hill approaching the bridge, or at least start your braking there, or get all the way up and over it, up onto the flat past the little bump there. And then you really are going to, if you wait until that point, you're going to really have to attack the brakes hard to get the car slowed down there.
Right, now for turn 8, do you, with a high power, high speed car, would you be treating it as a single or double apex? Because there are two different candy cane curbs, right?
Yeah, for myself, I just treat it as a simple apex, and I actually approach it somewhat similar to 2 in the approach, kind of approaching it not all the way, not super far over to the left. Just was a confidence thing for me. I didn't want to be approaching it at that highest speed, really close to the grass in case you get a little wiggle or something like that. So I was taking the safe path through there again, and kind of just spending most of the corner in the mid track and waiting until almost the beginning of turn 9 to apex it. If you I don't know if you want to consider that really to apex, but before it was that long before I got to the inside of the track.
Right. So now you finished turn 8, you're heading into turn 9, the S's. How do you tackle that one? Because that's like that. There's a slight dip to the left as well, right? It's not a perfectly flat turn.
No. And definitely at that speed in the Integra, you're really loaded on the bump stops at that point. So you really feel that bump more so than you would in a car that has a more kind of natural suspension feeling. So you just kind of have to commit and know that it might move a little bit as you go over that bump. But if you're committed and you're back to the throttle already, even if it does give a little bit of a wiggle or something like that, you should be okay.
Awesome. So now you're hitting the last turn of the track, turn 10, White's Corner. It looks fairly simple, but it looks like it has plenty of friendly outside curbing, but it's also a really narrow, like essentially corridor you're entering, right?
Yeah, and if you're not prepared for kind of how that's going to look, it can really be deceiving. Because like you say, it is very, very narrow. And if you looked at like a map or a picture or anything like that, I don't find, or even watching it on TV, I don't find it looks that narrow. But when you get out there in a car, especially at high speed, it's shocking how narrow that exit really is out there. So in the Integra, again, a slower corner like that leading onto a straight, we're looking to get the car turned as quickly as possible and get the car pitched and rotated very early on in the corner. So again, we can get back to the throttle as soon as possible and make sure we have the least amount of traction control intervention.
So now that we've done one full lap of the track, out of all those turns, for most drivers, which one do you think is the hardest to get right or overcome the mental block?
I think people fail to realize how much. I think so. You say mental block, but I don't think people even realize sometimes how much speed they're giving up in one. I think people kind of know that they might struggle in 2, 4, or 8, but I think people don't realize how much speed can be had in one. I hear so much talking about all the time in 2, 4, and 8 about I don't know what line to take, or I don't think I'm carrying enough speed, or whatever. But I think truly that a lot of people maybe leave the most speed on the table in one, because if you go see some of the pro racing and stuff like that, the amount of speed that some of these cars carry through one is truly, truly astronomical.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, a lot of people always talk about the infamous turn 2 and 4, but yeah, that's actually, you're incredibly right about turn 1. I never actually thought about that, but that actually carries in your speed into turns 2 and 4 potentially, right?
For sure. And it's a corner where you can definitely make up a lot of speed too, because it's not as high risk of a corner as like the car is not unloading over the crest, and it's not as blind and stuff like that. It's a pretty straightforward corner that you can definitely make a lot of speed.
Okay. Just a quick follow up on yourself, actually. Then, what are you currently up to on the new car build? How's that coming along?
It's coming along. It's a pretty crazy process that we're going through with it right now, and it's going to take a bit of time. The new owners, the guys at Northern Speed, have some great plans that I kind of always dreamt of doing, but didn't necessarily have the means to complete. So after having the same kind of origins of the roll cage that were in the car since 2013, and we had just kind of built on them 3 different times, the car really needed to just have kind of a clean slate, start from scratch. So the car is on a rotisserie. The whole thing's been sandblasted. The whole roll cage is being cut out, and we've just been basically starting from scratch. And in most of the time attack rules, you're allowed to cut the roof 3 inches lower if you're running in the unlimited class. So we've decided to take advantage of that rule. If you're going to do a new cage, you're only going to have that chance to do the roof once, right? Because if you do the cage at the same height, you're never going to be able to do that 3-inch roof chop again. So we've decided to take advantage of the 3-inch rule, and with the new cage and everything like that, and it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, really looking forward to seeing that beast on the track eventually. But last but not least, and this has been something I've wanted to ask you in person but never had the chance to. What's up with the watermelon scheme on the helmet? Is that a paint job? Is that a dip? What's the story behind that one?
So it was a hydro dip we were at Grid Life event at Road Atlanta 2017, and we had done a pretty good lap right out of the box, and we were just struggling. I think my head was in the game a little bit too, wasn't in the game, maybe enough, and we were just struggling with some little issues on the car, and we kind of got everything sorted out, but it was like a Saturday afternoon session at Atlanta in August, so it was just 1,000,000 degrees, and a buddy of mine came over the radio before we went out for the session, and we were looking for a 123, or I should say a sub 124, 123.9 or better, and he comes over the radio before when I'm on the warm-up lap, and he says, if you go sub 24 on this next lap, I'm going to take that watermelon out of the fridge. We're going to carve it up, and you're going to wear it all on your head all night tonight to the party, because they always do a big festival party and concert and everything like that at the Red Light Festival events. And I don't know how we did it. We were struggling all day, and it was like, it must have been 100 degrees Fahrenheit out. It was just crazy hot. Now, I don't think anyone improved their lap in that session, and just because the car was kind of together, and I think that I didn't put as much pressure on myself because I had no expectations because it was so hot out. We went out, we did a 123.8 on the first lap, and the the watermelon started, and kind of at every event since, if we've had a goal that we wanted to reach, or a record or a win or anything like that, sometimes we'll get a watermelon and carve it up, and I'll wear it around after the track events for the day are over. So we started talking to Ravi from We Don't Lift in Arizona, and they are a great safety gear supplier for kind of grassroots motorsport racers all over North America. And he said to me, I guess it was later that year, it was quite a while from the time that we talked about it first until he got it to me, but he says, I'd like to help you out with this, help you out with your program and get you a helmet and do the watermelon print, because he said it'd be noticeable for everyone, and he just thought it would be cool. And so beginning of 2019, he made it happen, and it's been pretty fun. Beginning of 2019, and every kind of fans and fellow competitors and everything like that have always got a good laugh about it.
Yeah, it's a very unique signature of yours, and it's when I first saw it, I laughed about it because it's perfect. It's staying calm under pressure, and then great watermelon for a hot summer day is fantastic.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us, James. And is there anything would you like to have us plug for you?
We have a huge, great list of supporters that, help us make everything happen. And I can't thank everyone enough. But, what I really want to say right now is I just really hope that everyone can, stay home as much as possible. And I think it's great that you guys are doing the e-racing thing and stuff like that, because I think everyone, definitely myself included, wants to get back to the track. And as long as people are, still going out, hanging out with their friends and stuff like that, which I still see so much of, it's just making this harder and harder to get to the point where, hopefully we can come back and do another OTA event at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. And so I think it's great what you guys are doing. And I hope that people can just stay inside and keep to themselves, and hopefully we can still set some fast laps in 2020.
Tonight's race format is as follows. There's 30 minutes of practice time, which our drivers are currently in, followed by 15 minutes of qualifying time. And based on this qualifying time, the drivers are graded from fastest to slowest and given 15 minutes of race time. A second race will occur immediately after, but this time drivers are graded in reverse order based on the finishing order in the first race. So if you finish first, you start last in the second race. To make things even though, points in the first race weigh more than the second one to prevent sandbagging. Please note we've rejigged our points scoring system after considerable feedback from both our fans and competitors. The car for today's Spec Series race is the 2014 Chevrolet Corvette C7 Stingray. Equipped with a 6.2-liter LT1 V8 engine, this car roars in at 455 brake horsepower, 625 Nm of torque, and weighs just under 1,500 kilos. This big engine spits out a perfectly linear power delivery from 0 to 5,000 RPM and a torque curve that dishes out 80% of its maximum torque at just 2,000 RPM. With an aluminum frame structure, it is 57% stiffer, yet 45 kilos lighter than its predecessor. Liberal use of carbon fiber parts, including the hood and roof panel, drive up the power-weight ratio whilst holding or improving strength or torsional rigidity. Coupled with a 7-speed manual transmission with rev matching technology for both up and down shifts, this at the time of release was one of the best packages put up by Chevrolet in a base Corvette. Here's a quick recap from our previous event at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. In race number 1, Val DiPietro took first place, followed by Jordan Mazzugli and Sean McPhee wrapping up third. In race number 2, Shane Shepherd took first place, followed by Joseph Yang, with Val DiPietro clawing all the way up to third place from last position. Remember folks, the second race is reverse gridded based on the finishing order of the first race. With this, Val DiPietro sits at top of the standings with a commanding 34 points, followed by Sean McPhee in second with 21 points, and Jordan Mazzugli in third with 18. It's anyone's game after that because there's only 10 points to separate from 4th place to 10th. Who will race up to the standings from today's race? Or will top 3 fall from grace? Enough teasing. Let's go check out our drivers and see what they're up to. Alrighty, so looks like we're still in practice. And top of the leaderboard currently sits with Val DiPietro with a lap time of 1:30.516 seconds, followed by Daniel Kokar at just 0.2 seconds behind him, and Jordan Mazzugli at another 0.3 seconds behind Val. So then we've got Nathan Hodgins, Philip Oliveira, Daniel Santabanez, Gilbert Kaya, Anthony Ho, Louise Elliott, Paul Todd, Jason Seeley, Colin Casey from Pinnacle Advanced Driving Academy, Andrew Davis, Alex Chong, Gerald Nemhard, Julian Cezinaro, Randy Zimmer, Richard Yin from Radical Canada, David Byrne, Mikey Lim, and Laszlo Toth, Sean McPhee, Joseph Yang, Kirk Readings, Jay Sang, the owner of Pinnacle Advanced Driving Academy, Michael Puchik, Mike Hedford, Chris Boersma, and Eric Racer. And that's it for now. Again, remember folks, this is strictly the practice round, so people are still getting used to their setup, you're getting used to track conditions. Nothing here matters. This is just strictly them to get used to the track. So let's see if we can hop in with one of the drivers. Currently with Daniel Kokar. Going up the hump into the Canadian Tire sign. Going into turn 8. The S's. Looks like he's going a little... No, he's managed to recover it a little bit. Going into turn 9, second part of the S's, and the final right-hander, that's turn 10. White's corner. See if he beats his best time. He does. He improves to just 0.1 seconds behind the Val DiPietro at 1:30.653 seconds. Let's hop in with Gilbert Kaya. E2 is just coming around the S's. Looks like there's a little bit of damage on the car. And again, folks, this is strictly on practice. So anything here doesn't matter. Doesn't carry over into the actual qualifying session, which is the next round. Looks like he's chasing down Laszlo. Laszlo's understeering a little bit on turn 2 here. Oh, going a little wide. Gilbert's going to take him out the outside on turn 3. Quebec corner. Quebec corners are a funny corner, like we were talking about with James. It's if you turn in too early, you'll realize that there's so much track left on the outside of the left there. Going to turn 4. Again, famous words of James Houghton: just pray, Jesus, take the wheel. Coming out of Moss corner, 5B. Nice and clean. Good work, Hilberg. And flat out up on Mario Andretti straightaway. Hilberg looks like he's making good time on this. Let's see what his trap speed looks like. Going into the S's, turn 8. Chasing down Joseph Yang. Nice clean exit on turn 10. Looks like Gilbert didn't beat his previous time, so let's hop in with another driver. Let's see, check in with Colin Casey. See how he's doing. Colin Casey's currently sitting in 13th place in terms of best overall time currently. Let's see if he can improve on that. He's driving the Pinnacle Advanced Driving Academy car, number 69 there. Going through Moss Corner 5B, coming out of it, and onto Mario Andretti Straight. The key thing to remember with Mario Andretti Straight is that it's just a straight uphill. You can see there's various crests over it. Even though it should be a flat-out drive for all these Corvettes, but it's something that to remember when you're in a race condition, you can't see necessarily behind you fully all the way. So, it can be pretty sneaky coming in. Oh, he's understeering out on the outside of... going oversteering a little bit, but managed to catch it. Going into the second part of the S's, turn 9. Final right-hander into turn 10. Again, notice how narrow this is going on front straight. If you go in 3 wide there, it's going to be pretty interesting in the race condition. Andrew Davis coming out of the pits. Let's hop in with Nathan Hodgins and take a look at his lap. Coming up Mario Andretti Straight. Ooh, going a little... no. He's managed to pull it back in for turn 8. Oh, a little bit oversteer on turn 9. Final straight. Let's see if he breaks his first... Actually, no, doesn't look like a good lap for him. But he can restart all over again. Turn 1, again, the trickiest part of turn 1 is it's a safe turn, and yet people lose a lot of speed because they can't necessarily... Vision's difficult. You're looking through the pit wall, trying to get through it, and then it opens up surprisingly more than most people think. Good exit through turn 2. Possibly could use a little bit more track out on the right side. Going to the Quebec corner. Nice. Oh, a little too much curb there. In the infamous turn 4 where you look straight into the forest. Oh, trail braking into it. Bold move. 5A Moss corner. Nice, good clean. Going to 5C, which is slight left. And onto the back straight, Mario Andretti straight away. It's a packed day today, folks. We should have 30 drivers on track. So when race conditions start, we'll see how crazy it gets on turn 1 and turn 2. Again, for those of you just joining us, this is strictly the practice session. So anything that happens here doesn't really matter. It's just people getting used to their setup, getting used to the track, getting used to the conditions in general. So people are just getting ready for the actual qualifying, which happens in about 16 minutes. Nathan's sitting around a minute 31. Let's take a look at Richard Yin from Radical Canada. He is currently sitting in at 8th place with a minute 31.968 seconds as his best lap in practice. Going into Moss Corner, chasing down Laszlo. Ooh, going a little wide on 5C. Oh, a little bit oversteer. Oh, he's lost it. Ooh. Just staying off the track. Good. Letting everyone go through. Nice. Let's hop in with Jason Seeley. Final turn, White's corner. Fresh lap about to start. Jason's currently sitting in 10th place. So just about a minute 32-ish, I believe. Yeah, minute 32.027. So about a second and a half behind pace from Val Di Pietro. Going to turn 2. Little wide. Usually most people take this as a double apex there. He missed the second apex. Going to turn 3, Quebec corner. A little hot again. Again, people are just getting used to the practice session. They're getting used to the track, getting used to conditions. So this is a perfect situation for most people to experiment. Although it is bragging rights for fastest lap. Going through Moss Corner, 5B. Taking a wide entry, but missing the apex a little bit. And back up the back straight on Mario Andretti straightaway. Gorgeous sunset here tonight, folks. Track conditions look pretty good. But the sunset might cause issues during the race. It might be getting people's eyes, the glare or something like that. So we'll see how that work plays out. Going through a final part of the S's into turn 10. Looks like he may have had more track on the left side there, but let's see what happens. Minute 32, slightly off his best, but again, folks, this is just strictly practice, getting used to the car, getting used to the track. Experimentation time, really. Looks like we have a new leader at minute 30.653. Or I think just Val Di Pietro disconnected, so that's why Richard Yin sitting on top there. Let's hop in with Sean McPhee. Sean hasn't put in a very good lap yet. Again, he's probably just connected. So let's take a look. Oh, looks like their server just did a quick reset. People are just starting out their pits. I believe we've actually gone into practice. I mean qualifying, sorry. So that's why everything reset and we're going into qualifying at this point. So everyone's on their outlap. Remember, this is not a race. This is the qualifying. This is where it now matters for position on the grid for race number 1. So the drivers got 15 minutes to put in their fastest lap possible. So it makes sense for them to gap each other and then chase down their best possible lap. Let's take a look at Alex Chong. Oh, a little bit of sideways there. Again, as you hit the Canadian Tire sign, there is a hump there. That's what James Houghton was talking about. Do you want to brake before or do you want to brake after, right? Gets a little challenging as you brake after. On this track, it is the epitome where you got to be smooth, gentle, and commit, really. Smooth is fast. That's the saying, and that is absolutely accurate on this track. Oh, Jason Seeley forgot he's on cold tires. Ooh, Jordan just narrowly avoids him. Coming out of 5B. Nice clean exit. Power down. Going up Andretti straight. Yeah, notice how the track goes up and down a little bit. Especially you're gaining all the elevation lost in turns 2 and 4, all on the back straight there for the most part. Going through the S's in turn 8. Going through turn 9. Again, a little bit of a dip here. Going to turn 10. Let's see if Jordan has put in a quick time. Minute 32. Looks like Val has put in a minute 31, coming in just behind Jordan. So here we are. We're finally getting some good qualifying times here. So the board is starting to fill up. Currently with Val Di Pietro in first, a minute 31. Richard Yin. Oh no! Philip Oliveira puts in a minute. Oh no! Never forget Nathan Hodges. Everyone's just dialing in their laps, folks. So people will be racking in times very tight to each other. So I can't keep up with my mouth. But yep, people are definitely dialing in. You've got 0.1, 0.4, 0.4. Everyone's really tight with each other. So and they've still got about 11 minutes left in qualifying. So plenty of time. Let's hop in with current leader Val Di Pietro. Chasing down Jordan. Again, this is not a race. This is strictly in qualifying. But Val's definitely got some time on Jordan Bazugli. Jordan's still holding his spot ahead of Val. Not sure if he knows Val's behind him, but let's see if Val beats his own time. And he does! He shaves off another 0.3 seconds off his fastest time. He's pulling over. Not sure what's going on there, but let's take a look at Nathan Hodgins. Decent amount of traffic with Daniel Santibanez in front of him. Ooh, Daniel's. Let's actually hop in with Daniel Santibanez. That seems like a fun little fight there. Or actually, let's take a look at Alex Chong and see what he does. We were following him earlier in practice before. Oh, looks like Randy Zimmer's spun out on the front straight. Oh, Sean McPhee has put in a minute 30.779. Interesting. Anthony Ho is new to our series. Welcome aboard, Anthony. Ooh, Richard Yin. That Corvette's seen better days. Hop in with Gerald Nemhard. Gerald's probably just started. Again, this is the qualifying session. If folks are confident enough, they don't necessarily have to take all 15 minutes of qualifying. They can hop in at the very last minute, put in a hot lap, and we go right back in the pits. This is strictly for position in the first race of 15 minutes. For those of you just joining us, welcome to event number 2 at the Ontario Time Attack e-racing series, Overtake the Apex. This is event number 2 at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park at the Grand Prix track. The car is typically, the car class is voted on by the competitors after the race. So by tomorrow morning, they should get a poll what class they want to vote for the next race for event number 3. So at the end of event number 1, everyone voted for the GT class, and we've got ourselves the C7 Corvette Stingray that we've got right now. Ooh, Joseph Yang took a spill on the exit of turn 10, and he hops back in the pits to get a new car. Let's take a look at Daniel Santibanez at a minute 30.952 as his best time. He may have decided to just get a new car right now. Onboard Gilbert Kaya, starting a fresh lap. Coming out of turn 1. Oh, getting a bit of traffic going to turn 10 there. Oh, to turn 8. About 7 minutes left in qualifying. A quick word from one of our sponsors.
All of those miles All of those hours, the late nights, the planning, the preparation, they all come down to this. That one perfect lap. We'll build the car, you win the race.
For Mr. Alex Lee, Subaru Impreza in
NV Auto, building champions since 2010.
All right, we're back with Randy Zimmer. Oh, just switched over to Paul Todd here, going up the back straight on Mario Andretti straightaway. There's just over 5 minutes left. With Paul Todd here, going up the back straight into turn 8. The S's. Nice and clean. Going to turn 9. There's a little bit of dip there, remember, folks. He holds it nice and clean. Going to turn 10, last turn, going to tight front straight. Ooh, he might might be just shy of his best time. Yeah, just a little bit. Just a second over his best time. Looks like Andrew Davis just set a new personal best. Sitting in at 13th overall in qualifying. Again, there's a total signed up drivers. There should be around 30 drivers signed up. So it's going to be a tight grid there. Be interesting to see how many wide go into turn 1 on... Oh, Mikey Lim has gone off. Should stay off. Oh no, he might be getting caught up in turn 10 there. Nope, he's managed to gap himself. Oh, Daniel Santibanez just takes a spill right there, chasing down Kurt Readings. Just about 4 minutes left before the end of qualifying for race number 1. On board here with David Byrne. Going to turn 1, went a little hot. Oh, wait, no, he might just be parking the car, actually. Alright, Joseph Yang coming up the front straight. Looks like he's starting a fresh lap. He may, folks, again, this is strictly the qualifying. You can hop in and out of the pits and then get a new car if you so choose to, because you may have wrecked it earlier, but the whole goal is strictly to get the fastest time possible. In terms of the car setup itself, drivers are allowed to play with the alignment, allowed to play with the tire pressures, but that's pretty much it. It's pretty much a spec series race, so not a whole lot to play with. Currently, the leaderboard still is Sean McPhee at the very top with a minute 30.779, followed by Jason Mazzugli at just a shade at 0.037 seconds behind Sean McPhee, and then Richard Yin at 0.136 seconds behind him. So the top five really are very, very tight. Val DiPietro finishing rounding up the top 5 and 5th at 0.278 seconds behind Sean McPhee. On board here with Val. Let's see if he starts a new lap. There's 3 minutes left. 3 minutes left in qualifying, so we'll take a look at and see if anyone really dials in. Oh, and Val just did it at a minute 30.771. So he climbs back up to pole position right now. Just under 3 minutes left. Let's take a quick word from one of our sponsors. And don't forget, folks, Toyo Tires currently has a spring sale, and you can save up to $70 off select sets of 4 tires from Toyo Tires. Check out their website at toyotires.ca/special offers. And we're back here with just a minute 40 left in qualifying. Again, this is qualifying for the position for race number 1, which is going to be graded from fastest to slowest. Our leaderboard currently sits with Val Di Pietro in pole position at a minute 30.771, followed by Sean McPhee with just 0.008 seconds behind Val. That's pretty tight. Then you've got Jordan Bazugli at 0.045 seconds. The top 3 are incredibly tight here. And then 4th is Richard Yin from Radical Canada at 0.144 seconds, and Nathan Hodgins rounds out the top 5 at 0.167 seconds behind Val Di Pietro. Just under a minute left. Let's see how if our drivers have any flyer hot laps to round out qualifying. Actually, I made a mistake. Looks like 4th place is actually not Richard Yin, it's actually Daniel Kokar. My mistake. So that's Val Di Pietro, Sean McPhee, Jason Bazugli, Daniel Kokar, and Nathan Hodgins. On board with Jason Seeley, sitting in 11th, and Laszlo Toth sitting 26th. Again, there's 30 cars that have signed up for the race. Not sure if all 30 have made qualifying laps, but that's where we currently sit at. Less than 15 seconds to go. The way this works is that if someone's still on a flying hot lap at the very end, the game will allow them to finish that lap just to see if they can beat their personal best. After that, the server will switch over to race mode, and all of our drivers will be graded from fastest to slowest on the front straight. Okay, we're currently in overtime. And most of our drivers are pretty much parked on the side there. Anything we want to see with a P there is pretty much either not on the track right now, have parked, or are not active. So we've still got a few people that are trying desperately to see if they can climb up. Sean McPhee probably is trying to chase down Val Di Pietro, but actually no, he's parked as well. He just parked the car. So our top 6 are pretty much set from Val Di Pietro, Sean McPhee, Jason Bazugli, Daniel Kokart, Nathan Hodgins, and Daniel Santibanez, Gilbert Kaya, Philip Oliveira from drivermod.ca. Check them out for great insights on the driving community. Colin Casey from Pinnacle Advanced Driving Academy in 9th. And I believe that is Michael Puchik sitting in 10th. So there's your top 10. Michael Puchik might try to make a move for 9th, but we'll see. Oh, Adrian Cezinaro just set a new personal best at a minute 31.7. Fortunately, I don't think that moved him up anything, but it's still good to get a new personal best. Congratulations. Everyone's pretty much parking on the side there to let the server roll over to the race mode. So there we go. We're going into race mode. So as I mentioned before, Val Di Pietro sits on top and pole, followed by Sean McPhee, Jordan Bazugli, Daniel Kokart, Nathan Hodgins, Daniel Santibanez, Gilbert Kaya, Philip Oliveira, Colin Casey, Michael Puchik, and then you got Andrew Cezinaro, Jason Seeley, Lewis Elliott, Andrew Davis, Anthony Ho, Paul Todd, Richard Yin from Radical Canada, Alex Chong, Jay Sang, the owner of Pinnacle Advanced Driving Academy, Joseph Yang, Randy Zimmer, Kirk Readings, David Byrne, Gerald Nemhard, Mikey Lim, Laszlo Toth, Mike Hedford, who I believe hasn't signed in yet, and Shane Shepard. So there's our top essentially 28. Looks like we've got 28 active drivers, and we're about to go into race number 1. All right, while we wait, let's have a quick word from one of our sponsors. Looks like the server is still switching over to race mode. Again, folks, this is welcome to, if you're just joining us, welcome to the second event of the Ontario Time Attack e-racing series, Overtake the Apex. This is event number 2 happening at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park Grand Prix track. I'm your host, Kevin Wong, the Chief Timer of Ontario Time Attack. We're currently just waiting for the server to switch over to race mode. So we'll just have a quick word from one of our key sponsors.
Where there's NASCAR, there's Mobil 1 synthetic motor oil. From Rusty Wallace's number 27 car to Kevin Harvick's number 4 car and beyond, Mobil 1 engine oil set the pace for performance. That's why Mobil 1 is the official motor oil of NASCAR, and why Mobil 1 technology is used by 50% of teams competing in NASCAR's top 3 National Touring Series. Because when 40 stock cars are running flat out for 500 miles, engine protection and power matter more than ever. And that means long-lasting protection on the road, from their engines to yours.
Look, and we're off. The race has started. We've got, oh boy, here we go. Already a wipeout. Shane Shepherd managed to drive through that wreckage right off the bat. And for most part, it looks like everyone's fairly intact aside from those 2 collisions there. Going into Clayton. Oh, here we go. Multiple cars taking it. Again, first lap. Oh, this is a bit of wreckage here. Again, first lap. Nobody wins a race in their first lap. So we've got guys just a bit of carnage here going into turn 2. But that separated the cream from the crop. So let's just see what happens here. Going in with Jordan Mazzugli. Oh, gets tapped from behind by Sean McPhee. Let's see if Sean, looks like Sean and Jordan take each other out. That's allowed Daniel Kokar to move up to second. Valdi Pietro is currently still in the lead. Again, he started in pole, so. Hop in with Daniel Kokar, who's about 2 seconds behind Val. He's got quite the competition behind him, from especially second all the way to 6th. Is really tight behind him. Going into turn 1, nice and clean. You see the rearview mirror, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pretty much going in right hot behind him. A little bit sideways on entry. Little wide, but holds his position. Val is comfortably in the lead. But look at that train behind him. Daniel makes a mistake. He's going to get caught and pass, probably. We'll see what happens at Moss Corner. Going into turn 4. Fairly clean. This is where all the carnage might happen just all over again. Really wide on 5B. May have yielded some room there. And yep, everyone's right behind him again. So that may have cost Daniel a little bit, but so far, oh, Phil Oliveira just got taken out on 5A entry. Desperately trying to get back on track. Gerald has managed to stay away from Phil, so and the 2 have been fairly clean so far. Phil's trying to draft Gerald and see if that. Yep, he's slowly catching him. Oh, going to take him on the inside on turn 8 into the S's. Let's see what happens. Oh, pushing wide, forcing Gerald a little out. That might not be a little kosher there. Phil's managed to climb back to 18th place after that little off-track incident on 5B there. Oh, Lewis Elliott cuts across the track in a bit of a dangerous move there, but hasn't caused anything. Chasing now Kyle Readings, or Kirk Reading, sorry. Going into Quebec corner. Going into turn 4. Let's see if Phil can keep it clean for the Moss corner. And he goes really wide again. I think Kirk's had braked a lot. Oh, he goes into the wall. Ooh, that. Richard Yin overtakes him. Let's jump back up to the top of the pack here and see if anything changed on the leaderboard. So far, it's still Val Di Pietro in the lead with Daniel Kokar in second and Daniel Santibanez in third, and Colin Casey from Pinnacle Advanced Driving Academy in fifth. There's 10 minutes in this race. Ooh, pretty tight there. Going to S's between Jay Sang, Richard Yin, and Phil Oliveira. Going to the final corner. Ooh. Jay took that really tight on the going in. That cost a lot of entry speed going in there. Three-way battle into turn 1. Let's see what happens here. Oh, Jay's let Richard go through. And Phil's trying to take the outside, gather speed, and see if they can take them on turn 2. Neck and neck going into turn 2. Jay went wide. And Richard Yin takes the inside, and Phil's going to chase him down. Oh, Jay ate the wall on turn 2 on bottom there. So Phil's managed to hold on to 16th place. Bit of carnage here, folks. There's 9 minutes left in this race, so while this happens, we will take a quick break and have a word from one of our sponsors. Welcome back, folks. Looks like nothing's really changed on the top of the leaderboard from top 5-0. We're just on board here with Shane Shepard chasing down Alex Chong and Adrian Cezinaro and Jason Seeley. For the folks in the YouTube stream chat, I do notice that you guys are saying I am hopping around the camera between drivers a little too much. I apologize for that. That was a little bit of technical difficulty that I had, but it should be better now. Yep. So Daniel Kogar has put down the fastest lap in a race condition at a minute 31.355. But he's still 3.4 seconds behind Val Di Pietro. We're currently on board here with Shane Shepard, who's moved up to 10th place on the exit of turn 1, chasing down Jason Seeley and Adrian Cezinaro. Oh, Jason Seeley's made a mistake on Quebec corner, and Shane takes 9th place and is now slowly hunting down. Oh, Adrian's lost it on coming down turn 4, and Shane moves up to 8th place. Very prime example there of just keeping it clean and letting your opponents make a mistake. Shane's climbed up 3 positions so far in this one lap that we've just followed him around. He's still hotly being chased by Alex Chong right behind him. So Shane's still got to keep it clean. Ooh, Alex is right up on his bumper. Going into the last turn 9, the final part of the S's. Val Di Pietro just put a hot lap of 1:30.657, which I believe is pretty much matching his qualifying lap too. Looks like most of the fun racing is actually happening from 7th all the way to 12th place. Our leaderboard really hasn't changed much there, with between 1st to 5th. Oh, but looks like Gilbert Kaya and Nathan Hodgins are having a battle. Let's hop in with them. So yep, Nathan Hodgins is chasing down Gilbert Kaya, coming out of 5C, going onto Andretti straightaway. Let's see if he can make up some time on Gilbert. Decent amount of gap there, but if a small screw up into turn 10 could yield some gains there for Nathan. So let's see if Nathan can keep it clean and if Gilbert makes a mistake. Yeah, he seems to have slowly closed that gap there. Going into the final in the White's corner, turn 10. Yeah, he might have just made some ground there on Gilbert. Going to turn 1. Again, like James was saying earlier, this is a turn where a lot of people actually lose a lot of time because... Whoop, Colin Casey looks like he's just got out of pits. Hang on a second here. Whoops, we seem to be having some... There we go. Going back to Shane Shepherd. Going back to Nathan Hodgins right there, chasing down Gilbert Kaya. Ooh, he might be gaining on Gilbert quite a bit there. Going to turn 4, the Jesus Take the Wheel corner, as anointed by James Houghton there earlier. Let's see if Gilbert can keep it clean on Moss corner. Jason Bazugli is just right behind Nathan Hodgins though. Gilbert's managed to keep it clean and has held the gap on Nathan Hodgins. Our leaderboard still currently sits at the same, with Val Di Pietro on top, Daniel Kokar in 2nd, and Gilbert Kaya in 3rd, with Nathan Hodgins really trying to chase him down for that podium finish in race number 1. Just under 3 minutes left in race number 1. Ooh, Gilbert may have just gone a little wide there. Nope, no, he was good. He's good. Nathan's really pushing it though. You can tell he's just understeered a little bit there, so that may have cost him some time there. Clean exit on turn 10. And let's see what happens on turn 1. Gilbert's kept it clean. Nathan's also kept it clean, so no gains to be had by anyone there. Let's see what it looks like from Jason Mazzuccoli's point of view. Chasing down both Gilbert Kaya and Nathan Hodgins. Oh, sorry, Jordan Mazzuccoli. Yep, looks like 3rd, 4th, and 5th are keeping a very good job of keeping it clean. Again, folks, there's only 1:50 left in this race, so might as well try to see if you can play defensive and hold on to your spots, but this is only race 1 out of 2. The second race will be reverse gridded based on your finishing order in this first race. So if you finish first, which Val Di Pietro looks like he's going to, hopefully that didn't jinx it, he will start last in the second race. So, but again, for those of you just joining us, the first race points are way more. They're essentially worth more than the second race. So that way nobody sandbags and just tries to wind up being last so that they're first in the second race. Just over a minute left in the race as our top 5 is just starting to cross the start-finish line. Yeah, their lap times are almost identical, so nobody's really gaining on anyone here. Everyone's trying to keep it clean and hold on for dear life for this last minute of racing. Nathan Hodgins, ooh! Jordan may have just messed up there, but he's managed to hold on his position. Kept it just on track a little bit, didn't hit the grass. Third, fourth, and fifth are pretty much evenly gapped, so there's nothing happening really there. It looks like the rest of our pack too is pretty much holding on to what they've got. Again, 20 seconds left, so chances are when Val crosses the finish line, let's just hop in with him actually and see how he's doing. He's had pretty much nothing but clean track for most part. Daniel Kokar is seemingly chipping away slowly at him, but Val's been keeping it very, very clean for the entire race. So, yep, leader's on the final lap. So when Val crosses, it should start the final lap, which should trigger the end of the conclusion of the race number 1. One might even say Val's a little bored up front. Yep, Val has won the race. So there's your 1-2. Daniel Kokar in second, Gilbert Kaya in third, Nathan Hodgins in fourth, and Jordan Zugli in fifth. Shane Shepard is now just about across the finish line. Yep. Andrew Davis in most likely seventh, followed by Alex Chong, who almost loses it towards the very end there, and Jason Seeley in ninth, Michael Puchik in 10th, Joseph Yang most likely in 11th, Paul Todd in 12th, Adrian Cesararo should be wrapping up 13th, and Kurt Readings finishing 14th, Phil Oliveira finishing 16th, Luis Elliott finished 15th, sorry. Jay Sang finished 17th, and Randy Zimmer finished 18th. So that's pretty much the end of race number 1. While we wait, a quick word from one of our sponsors. Again, folks, Toyo Tire currently has a spring sale. Save up to 70% off select sets of 4 tires from Toyo Tires. For more details, check out toyotires.ca/special offers. And we're off. So race number 2 has started. Again, this is gridded from reverse order, so Val Di Pietro starts in the back of the pack. Let's see if we have the same amount of carnage going into... Oh, we've got a little bit... Oh, we've already had 2 cars collide. Everyone should be running Heli Corsa, which is a track radar app for this game, Assetto Corsa. But things might be getting a little heated here. Nowhere near as bad as race 1, though. So it looks like Laszlo Toth is at pole position. Kurt, he's still managed to holding on to it. Oh, may have gotten a little hot on turn 4 there. But manages to hold on. Oh, this is going to be carnage going into Moss Corner. Let's take a look at the back of the pack here. Yep. Oh, boy. So Laszlo Toth is still holding on to first place, followed by Phil Oliveira and Alex Chong, who survived that carnage out of the Moss Corner there. Let's take a look at the bottom of the pack and see where our previous race leaders are holding on to. So here we are with Jordan Bazugli, who remember finished, I believe, 3rd in the last race. So he's managed to keep it clean so far. Oh, looks like Laszlo pitted the car for some reason. He may have suffered some damage there. Just a quick word from one of our... So it looks like Laszlo did have some mechanical issues. He's getting back out of the pits. Let's hop in with race leader there now. Should be Phil Oliveira. Ooh, still a bit of carnage happening at the bottom there of turn 2. Shane Shepard and looks like Clayton took each other out. So Laszlo's managed to climb up a little bit. Kurt Readings takes over from Laszlo, and Laszlo's trying to hunt him down a little bit. Oh, Kirk's gone in too hot in turn 2 and gone off track. Laszlo retakes his position, so let's see what we can do with that. Folks, there's just about 9 minutes left in this race, so while we have some time, let's get a word from one of our sponsors.
All of those miles, all of those hours, the late nights, the planning, the preparation, they all come down to this. That one perfect lap. the car, you win the race.
For Mr. Alex Lee, Subaru Impreza in
NV Auto, building champions since 2010.
Welcome back, folks. Looks like our top 3 are still currently sitting at Phil Oliveira, followed by Michael Puchik, and then JW, and Alex Chong. Rounding out the top 5 with Andrew Davis. Ooh, very tight battle between Andrew and Alex. Pretty much bumper to bumper. I'm pretty sure he might have actually tapped Alex Chong there on the exit of 5B. Val DiPietro has actually managed to climb from last place all the way back up to 7th. There are 7 minutes left in this race. Will Val be able to actually podium? We'll take a look at that. Currently on board with Val. He's really hunting down the top 5 right now. He's moved up to 6th currently. While Andrew and Alex Chong really fight it out there, Val's really hunting them down, gaining ground with them. Val's got the top, essentially 3rd, 4th, and 5th in sight, so there's a good likelihood that he can gain for a podium finish with just under 7 minutes left in the race. Let's hop in with there's a lot of battling happening in between 9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th. Let's hop in with Joseph Yang. He was really duking it out with Gilbert Kaya earlier. So essentially you've got Daniel Santibanez in 9th, Gilbert Kaya in 10th, Joseph Yang in 11th, who were just totally battling out in turn 2 right there. Going to turn 4. Yep, definitely from essentially 6th to 11th is a really tight... Look at that train going up Mario Andretti straightaway. This is going to be interesting. Let's hop in a little further ahead with Daniel Santibanez, who's really chasing down Jay Sang and number 7th there. So this is going to be interesting. Going into turn 8, Jay opts to take the inside line. Daniel takes the standard line. This is going to be an interesting finish with just over 5 minutes left in this race. Oh, Daniel's taking the inside on. JJ may have just understeered out, and Daniel moves up position to 8th place. Going into turn 2, we've got a few mistakes happening up the top there, but I think Daniel may have just made a mistake of his own by really going wide out there. Jay's made some ground on him. Going into turn 4, and let's see if there's any more carnage happening in the Moss corner. Oh, looks like 5th position. Andrew Davis has gone off track and may have just cut in front of everybody there. Oh, side by side going into 5. Oh, that's a tough. That might go under review, folks, between Jordan Mazzugli and Andrew Davis. Again, the rules state that you can't necessarily force someone out like that, but we'll see. Daniel Santibanez has moved up to 7th place now, so he's fighting his way up. Val has moved from 5th to 4th. So again, 4 minutes left. Just over 4 minutes left. Oh, looks like... Yep. Alex Chong has lost 5th place and has been passed by Jordan Mazzugli. So... quite the fight happening between 5th all the way to 8th. Again, there's still just over 3.5 minutes left in this race. As soon as Phil Oliveira crosses the finish line with the counter at 0, that's when the race will effectively be called to an end. So, top in 1 position back of Jason Mazzugli. This is Alex on board with Alex Chong chasing him down on turn 4. Oh, Jordan's may have just understeered a lot into turn 5A. There might be a little bit of lag involved there too, because he seemed to skip across the turn 5A. Kent. Yep, there we go. Coming up, it's really tight, folks. Coming into Iron Journey straight away. That's a good 8 cars coming up, almost neck and neck right there. Let's see what happens into turn 9. Daniel Santibanez is really duking it out there with Andrew Davis. Andrew's taking the outside on Daniel, and takes the inside and passes him. 2 minutes left on this. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. So just about another lap and a bit, maybe. But Jordan Mazzugli is really chasing down everyone. He's just posted I think the fastest lap in race conditions. So Val Di Pietro is still sitting in at 4th. Let's hop in with him and see if he makes a podium finish. Chasing down Michael Puchik, definitely possible. Minute 55 left. Going to turn 4. Michael's holding on, just barely. Goes wide, Val might take him. And he does on 5B. There he is. He's now in a podium position. Will Val be able to chase JW? Or will Puchik manage to fight him back? Let's hop in with Michael Puchik. Oh, one mistake there on 5A entry. Went a little too hot and Val takes the inside. Oh, Val understeers. Oh, here's the prime example of not following the person in front of you. Michael follows him, does the same. So, no losses there for anyone. Less than a minute left in this final race. Looks like Phil Oliveira is holding on for 1st, JW in 2nd, and Val is probably on his last lap essentially, because I think Phil is on his last lap pretty much. So if nobody makes a mistake, we might just be looking at our leaderboard as our finishing positions right there. Let's hop in with 2nd position JW. See how far he's. Yep, he's actually got a pretty decent gap behind Phil Oliveira, but you never know. 20 seconds left to go. Oh, really wide. That might give room, but no, nobody's really there behind him. Might be getting a little bit of overconfidence there with knowing the fact that there's no one near him. But Phil Oliveira is probably going to finish this race in 1st, short of something drastic happening here. He knows this is the last lap. All drivers are notified the leaders on the last lap, so Phil's just got to keep it clean. Might have gone in a little slower than he probably normally would have, but let's see what happens. JW is probably not going to catch him, so there's our finishing order. Phil winning the race, followed by JW, and Val is going to secure 3rd place. And Jordan Mazzugli in 4th, Michael Puchik in 5th, Alex Cho in 6th, Andrew Davis in 7th, Gilbert Kai in 8th, Jay Sang in 9th, and Adrian Cesararo in 10th, Jason Seeley in 11th, Nathan Hodgins in 12th, followed by Daniel Santibanez, and Richard Yin in 14th, and Daniel Kokar in 15th. Wow, what a race by Val Di Pietro, going from last to 3rd. Again, he did this at Laguna Seca last time too, climbing from first position in the 1st race, then starting in the back of the pack and climbing back all the way to 3rd place. Fantastic driving on his half. But also great driving by Phil Oliveira. Remember, he didn't start at the beginning in pole for this race session, so he did some battling and held it up and kept it clean. So, Riley Zimmers just decides to wipe out at the last session there. So there you have it, folks. Our official top 10 is Phil Oliveira, followed by JW, and 3rd is Val Di Pietro, Jordan Mazzugli in 4th, Michael Puchik, Alex Chong, Andrew Davis, Gilbert Kaya, Jay Sang, and Adrian Cesonaro. Let's see if we can grab the drivers and have a quick interview. While we wait, we'll just a quick word from one of our sponsors.
All of those miles, all of those hours, the late nights, the planning, the preparation, they all come down to this. That one perfect lap. We'll build the car, you win the race.
For Mr. Alex Lee, Super Impreza
NV Auto, building champions since 2010.
Okay, welcome back, folks. We've got the top 3 right here with us. Actually, yep. So that was some, again, Val, you managed to pull it off all over again by climbing from last all the way to 3rd. And Phil, you've managed to do a good job too. Like you because you didn't start pole in that second race, right? I think you started 7th or something like that, and you managed to keep it clean. And there was a lot of carnage you guys had to go through in turns 2 and 4, I believe. Moss Corner was a bit of a mess too from commentating here. What did you really do to really keep it up there? Because once you got up to the top, you held it for pretty much almost 10 minutes in first place there, Phil. Phil, can you hear me?
You're still in driver's area.
No, Phil's. Oh, whoops. Sorry.
Maybe you have taken it. I don't know.
Whoops. Sorry about that. Folks, we're here with the top 3. We got Phil Oliveira, Val DiPietro, and Jason Bazugli. Is that Jason Bazugli?
No.
Oh, whoops. Sorry.
I'm just JW. That's just
Oh,
me.
sorry, JW. Yeah. So, Phil, you, Val, again, you crazy good driving there, climbing from last to 3rd place again. But Phil, you managed to keep it clean for most of the race, and you actually held on to the first place for almost 10 minutes there.
Yeah, I think I got massively lucky there.
Yeah, no, but you kept it clean. I think you had the cleanest driving out of everybody because it was a mess going through Moss Corner and turns 2 and 4 for most of that race.
Yeah,
what did you really do for most of it? Because you were still getting chased by JW and a few other people for most part of it.
I was just hot lapping, just trying to keep it clean, trying to keep it fast, given how fast the guys behind me are.
Yeah.
I'm typically like a mid-pack person, so.
Because JW was actually setting personal bests, I believe, chasing you.
Oh, seriously?
I think so, if I recall correctly, and Val was just slicing and dicing through traffic.
Okay. I was so worried about losing the car that I wasn't really pushing, just because I felt like that would have led into disaster.
Well, you kept it clean, and you managed to take first place, so congratulations there.
Phil, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Where did you start? Where did you start on grid?
Whew.
Okay,
sorry. Was it based on qualifying?
It
or
was
was
based on your result
finishing
from the first race.
I think you started 7th or something like that. 7th or 8th.
16th, I think.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow, okay.
Nice.
Damn, that's really good driving.
That must have been a hectic first laps.
Well, so essentially what that means, if he started 16th, that means he kept it clean so that the carnage that we saw on the first lap, because in the second race first lap, turn 4 and 5 was a total wreck.
For the record, there's a very good chance that I'm wrong about that number, so feel free to fact check me.
You know what? I'm live right now too, so I'm not exactly. I don't have all the details in front of me.
The internet will fact check you.
The internet will fact check you. You're good.
I'm sorry, internet.
But JW, is this your first time racing with us?
Yeah. I just found the event late, so I just wanted to join. I didn't even race for race 1, so I started at the back of the grid.
All right. Well done. You climbed up all the way to 2nd place.
It was a bit of luck for sure. There was a lot of crap, so to speak, in the first 2 laps. So.
Oh yeah, like I think for both races, essentially the first lap and a half was essentially sorting through all the mess through turns 2, 4, and 5C. Surprisingly, a lot of people coming out of 5C sideways.
I think personally I had a little bit of connection issue on the first lap as well, so I feel like that might have impacted people too.
Possibly. Well, Val, congratulations on climbing back to the podium again.
Thank you.
That was some interesting driving though. I'm surprised like nobody tapped you on any of that mess going into turns 2 and 4.
I think I may have hit Daniel trying to dodge a sideways Corvette, but I think Daniel ended up recovering. But like, yeah, a lot of lap 1 was just off the throttle, on the brakes, watching the things sort out in front of me and making sure that they couldn't get to me.
Right, because I think Jordan Bazugli was actually right behind you on the second last lap, and you understeered on turn 8.
Okay, that was when I braked for 8, I saw his car gaining on me in the braking zone, so I sort of let off the brake and sort of put the car in the grass a little bit to avoid potentially a collision. I don't know if he would have actually hit me, but I was very cognizant of a rear end collision maybe happening.
The funny thing is, so in my commentary, I actually said because he followed you exactly at the same path you took. So I'm going, great. This is what happens when you follow the car in front of you.
I was afraid. Like, I thought if I tried to take my normal line and continued braking, that he may have caught up to me and hit me. So I took to the grass. There's a lot of runoff out there.
Yeah, there was tons of runoff, but I thought he was going to generally. I was calling it out on the play-by-play, saying he's going to take you in the inside. Next thing you know, he locks it up, going right behind you.
Yeah, when somebody gains on you in the braking zone, you get scared.
Yeah, well, that was a great race, guys. So JW, hopefully you'll be back next week with us.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. I just found out about the event today. That's why. But yeah, it was very fun.
Congratulations, Philip, for taking first in race number 2. JW and Val, again, hope you guys had fun, and we can see you guys next week.
So much fun.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right. Bye.
Well, there you have it, folks. That's pretty much it for event number 2, race number 2. Thanks for joining us. It was really chaotic on Motorsport. Again, there's 30 cars compared to 24 last week, so a lot more chaos, a lot faster cars too. Last week we were driving the E30s. This time around we're driving the C7 Corvette, so a lot faster, bigger track, more traffic, and again, some of these folks have never actually raced on the Sims before, and from what I understand from the YouTube chat, Laszlo is actually playing on a controller, so that explains a lot about his steering. So well done, Laszlo, for still keeping on track for most of the part. Otherwise, thank you for joining us. It's been a fantastic evening. Race went well. We'd like to end off with a word with what Ontario Time Attack is all about. Good night, folks.
Time affects our lives, shapes our future, and defines our world. Every hour, every minute, every second. But in Time Attack, it's hundredths of a second that matter. Separating first place from the pack, the winner from the could-have-beens. Originating on the racetracks of Japan, Time Attack has grown into one of the most important and exciting motorsports available today. The goal is to set the fastest lap time on the racecourse using any vehicle, balancing engine power and reliability with driver skill and courage.
When you're in the car, the G-forces are phenomenal. You've got to balance the car properly. You're always pushing for that extra tenth of a second.
Ontario's premier Time Attack series holds events across the province each summer. Morning practice followed by competition runs all afternoon. 3 grueling time sessions.
We are on track with other cars, but we're not actually racing that car. We're always racing the clock. So you're out there all day, essentially to just bust off one really fast lap.
Each class has a technical spec, from stock street-legal cars to those with high-performance brakes and tires, all the way up to fully modified or prepped racing machines. With vehicle differences out of the equation, it's down to driver nerves and technique to seal the final outcome. Without distracting wheel-to-wheel competition, lap times are usually faster than the race divisions. But the biggest wow factor? When a racer lays down a lap time that not only beats competitors in his own class, but blows the doors off the classes above him.
big part of it is the speeds you get up to. The back straight at Motorsport, you're going over 200 kilometers an hour. When you get to that corner at the end, you know you got to take that corner to 140 kilometers an hour or you're going to be falling behind.
Every lap counts, every corner counts. Your laps have to be very consistent.
In Time Attack, you're always pushing, testing the car and yourself, like driving a never-ending qualifying lap. One mistake, and your time session's over in the blink of an eye. Time rules all of our lives, but on the track, it's your job to beat time. Are you up to it? Experience Time Attack. Breathe it. Live it.
Thanks for watching, everyone. If you like this content, like our racing, please hit the like button and don't forget to smash that subscribe button and hit the bell button on the bottom right corner for notifications for more content on this. Our next race is happening next week on Thursday, same time, same bat channel. Thanks for watching and have a great evening.